Hosted by Mike, the Big
excited about it.
I mean, it's an amazing record. I mean, I go back with the band from the beginning, from the demo tape days, even before they were called Flotsam Jetsam and you were even in it. So to see you guys still going, I mean, and when you came back to the band about 10 or 11 years ago, I couldn't have been more happy. And the output since then has just been incredible.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was weird when I was gone. It's like, I had some things I was doing, but holy shit. You can't. It's like a drug. Playing guitar, playing music. It's just you can't put it on a shelf and go, okay, I'm done. It's got to run its course.
Yeah, I can imagine. When you did come back to the band all those years ago now, was it like, going home again? Did you feel like I could just step back into where I was, or did you kind of have to feel your way around to see like what was going on with the other guys that were in the band at the time with AK, or was it just everything was like back to the way it used to be?
No, I mean. I didn't leave the band because of the members or for anybody other than like management. That was what my issue was back then. But when I came back, it felt good because it was AK calling me, going, "Dude, we've got a festival coming up," and it was the Bang Your Head Festival at the time. And he's like, "Ed can't do it, so would you play with Mark? Come back and play that show?" And then ever since I did that show with them. I was like, yeah, I can't not do this. I have to. So it's just been all downhill from there.
If you say so. But yeah, I'm glad you're back in there. And it's funny, from interviewing so many bands over the years, and you're like, oh, did you guys have a fight? You didn't get along? Why'd you break up? Why'd you leave the band? 90% of the time, it's the answer you just gave. We had problems with management. We had problems with the label. It was the business aspect of it that really tore more bands apart than just the fighting between members.
Yeah, totally. And they understood too. Kelly left at the same time I did, and the same kind of things. And that record that they, I was on it, but I didn't want to be, that the High record. That was like done by one of the management. They wanted to call it that, and I was like, it was cheesy. The artwork was cheesy on it, and I was like, fuck this. What do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to get rid of the management, or I'm gonna walk? And, they wanted to continue. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break. Nothing personal, guys.
I get it. But when you came back strong, in my opinion. I mean, when Ugly Noise came out, I didn't know what to make of it. It took me a while. I guess I was harking back to the old days, a little bit of No Place and stuff like that. But after I started playing it, and after some time went by and I got into it, to me, it was an experimental record. It was all over the place, but it really works if you put the time into listening to it. I mean, was this stuff like done before you got involved with the band again, or was it done when you got back in?
It was actually stuff that I was creating when I was out of the band. And, I was trying to hook up with Newstead again because he wasn't really doing anything. He had his Newstead metal thing going on, but I think that was kind of, my timeline might be all fucked up. But that was kind of, he was going to come back to the band at that point and play in Flotsam. And, I don't know what happened. Just the planets didn't align. But, he came and did a couple rehearsals with us, and we wrote a few tunes, and that's how that all kind of sparked. I thought we were going to go back to 1986, and it was going to be the original lineup. If we do a tour like that would have been really cool. But I'm glad that it didn't, because, Jason's got his own thing going on, and his Newstead metal and his acoustic stuff. but the chemistry in the band right now with our new guy Bill Bodley is just insane. You know, it's even better when you like call people friends and they really are your friends, and like you can hang out and you know, it's just a lot better. I've been in the band when it was, you know, there's a tension that sucks. There's no fun in that, but.
Yeah. Well, Bill's been in the band a little while now. Unfortunately, you know, he got caught up in the whole pandemic thing and really hasn't getting the chance to shine. But not long before that, Ken Mary comes into the band, and I'm like, you know, I know Ken from Fifth Angel, you know, Night's Fury. I can't even accept he played with everybody,
Mhm.
Ken Mary. But like, I don't know about Flotsam. I mean, you know, he's a great drummer, but that's a whole nother level of intensity. And man, when he stepped in, he blew me away. Absolutely. And on the last two records, holy shit.
Yeah, we were just going to have him come in and do a tour with us at first. And Steve brought him in. You know, Steve's like, hey, you know, I work with Ken. Here's a video of him playing. I think it was Hammerhead or something like that. And I was just like, really? Okay. You know, all right. So I did one rehearsal with him after that. And it was like, fucking A, this guy's got to be in the band. This guy's killer. And he's a great songwriter. He's a funny dude. And again, I can't emphasize like the chemistry that we have. You know, it just really works well.
Yeah, you can hear it on the record. You know, I mean, Blood in the Water. I mean, I thought the last record, End of Calves, was one of the most intense records you guys ever put out. This record just picks up where that left off. I mean, you guys didn't lose nothing in between. I mean, as far as songwriting goes today, I mean, do you feel there's less pressure on you than back in the '80s when you know you're on Elektra and then MCA and you know the labels, they get their claws around you to get involved, and it just screws up a band completely sometimes, even the best of bands. I mean, do you feel like that pressure is off you now when you comes down to the songwriting, you're more open to do what you want to do?
No, actually, I feel more pressured
Wow.
because now it's the like the labels then they didn't know what the fuck to do with a metal band. You know, Metallica came out and it exploded. You know, so they thought all these metal bands they wouldn't have to do anything for. You know, it was just going to happen like organically, like Metallica did. But it wasn't the case. So then you had people that they weren't fans of the music, but they were working your record. You know, that's like that just sounds crazy to me. You know, you want people that connect with what you do. You know, not somebody that's like, oh, this is just my job. You know, fuck this, whatever. You know, and I don't know if that was always the case. We always had Michael Alago on our
Yeah.
side, and he like, man, he was a huge fan and our liaison with the record labels. But I don't know, you know, how he sold it to the, you know, to the I guess the business of it, you know. So it's not metal's not for everybody. I understand that, but going back to your question, I I didn't care about what the record labels thought back then because I thought there was a disconnect.
Yeah.
So, but there's a connection with the fans, and if you disappoint them, I mean that's you know you're done. You'd be working at Circle K.
Yeah, I would have thought like the pressure would have been relieved where you feel like now you can record what you want. If you want to experiment a little bit now, do what you want. There should be no pressure on you. But I guess to just succeed what you did the last time puts enough on you to try to outdo yourself from album to album.
Yeah, we thought about that. Like when Chaos came out, and we're like, shit, how are we going to top this? You know, we were all super proud of it, and then we wrote this thing, we got it back, and from mix and mastering, and we're like, holy shit, I think we actually did it. You know, high five, guys. And this is the first record, and I'm totally weird about it too. Like I never go back and listen to our records when we're done, and unless I forget a part and I have to go back and relearn something. You know, I'll listen to it. But this record, I've listened to it probably 15 or 20 times, you know, since just in the last couple of weeks. And I'm like, man, I'm proud. I'm super proud of the guys in my band. I'm super proud of how it came out.
Yeah, you know, when you're in the studio and you're working on these songs, you're putting them together, you're tinkering and everything. You know, I know you can't possibly know what the end product is going to be. You know, when you like I said, you listen to the final mix of it. But do you ever start working on a song right off the bat and say, you know what, this one's going to be the one. This is the one that's going to take us to the next level. This is going to be the one that sets the tone for the record. Or is it kind of hard to hear when you're like that involved in it in the very beginning stages of the recording?
Well, some songs, that's a great question because some songs like kind of write themselves. And it's really weird how that works. You know, like you get you write like a main riff, a verse, and then a chorus, and then it's really easy to find something that follows that if you have uh, like really congruent parts in the song. It doesn't always work like that. There's maybe been 4 or 5 in my career songs that wrote themselves, like "Suffer the Masses" off the third record. That was one, that riff. It just was everything that came after it when writing it happened naturally. "Play Your Part" off of "Ugly Noise." Same thing with that. It's like it pretty much wrote itself. And there's a ballad on the new one, "Blood in the Water." "Cry for the Dead" did the same thing. It just kind of wrote itself, which is, I like that.
Yeah. Do you still have that riff from like the '80s that you said, "I'll find a place for sooner or later"? You just couldn't get rid of it. You loved it so much, but yet you still can't find a place to put it.
I do have one of those. It's funny you asked that question, and it's a crazy riff. And I always used to play it like whenever we would all get together. Way back in the day, we'd get together in this rehearsal room, and we'd be writing stuff, and then we'd come to that point where, what do we put in this part? And I would be like, always, and it was just the dumbest, funniest riff, and it would just take the attention out of what we're doing, make us all laugh. So,
Yeah.
but I still want to use that riff. I still want to use it.
There's always that one, and then there's one where you just, no matter how much you tinker with it, you just can't get it right, and you got to throw it away. I mean, I'm sure you had a million of those over the years.
Oh yeah, you have an idea. Every song starts with a vision, and you think it's going to sound like this, and then you end up writing something that sounds like that, and it's like, oh, this is crap. I won't even send it to the guys. I'll just be like, oh, this is taking up space on my disc.
Yeah. These days, is it more of a group effort as far as songwriting goes between you, AK, and everybody else in the band?
Oh yeah, totally. It's almost like an assembly line. We start. Usually Steve or I will come up with the riffs, and we'll give AK like a structured song to work with, and then when he starts adding lyrics to it, him and Ken work together on building that part of it, and they either get back with us. Sometimes Ken will take my projects and cut a bunch of stuff up and send it back to me and go, "Here's what I did," and he makes it 10 times better, because he's got an ear. Any outside ear is better than if you're sitting and working in front of your computer and you just have this vision, but the outside ear of that is just going to make it more powerful if they can hear changes that you should have made during your bubble time in creation.
Yeah.
Did I make any sense? Was my grammar
No,
okay in that?
no, absolutely. Because I was going to say, as a musician, as an artist, when you create something, it's kind of hard to turn it over to somebody else and then have them critique it or tinker with it or change it. But I guess the best artists and the best musicians are the ones that are open and willing to do that, because it would make the song better. But is that something you have to learn to like adjust to, or is it easy for you to just say, yeah, here's what I came up with, what can you do with it? Where can we go with this?
Yeah, it took us a long time. When I first started writing in Flotsam, I was kind of like that, and so were the rest of the guys. Are real firm on what. Oh, it's my idea. We can't change it. But that's such a block, and it's actually hurtful. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Uh-oh. What's going on with that then?
It must be the next guy calling for an interview.
I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah.
Was it you? Okay. All right. Whatever. So yeah. Let me mute this. So yeah, we used to be real firm on that, but it's such a block for songwriting process, because you're eliminating avenues, like correct avenues to write a good tune, and that does more damage than anything, But over the years, 5 people work better than just one. We've all realized that. So
Yeah. Well, I'm sure a lot of it is to being young too. When you're young and you come up with something and somebody says, "Hey, I don't like where we're going with that," it's easy to throw the microphone and the guitar on the floor and walk away. But as you get older, you have to be more open to it, and it shows in the music. When you listen to it today.
yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I know like the last year and a half has been hard on every band. I mean, it seemed like the scene was just really starting to pick up again. You know, bands were selling out shows again, packing in the clubs and the venues. Then, you know, this coronavirus came and it shut everybody down. I mean, are you able to like start planning now? Or is it still too early for the band to start making arrangements or plans of going out on the road and touring? Because that's really where you're making your money today, and you want to get out there and do that.
Yeah, everything's starting to open back up. We're starting to schedule shows. We had a hiccup with our booking agent, but we just signed with Continental Booking Agency, and it seems like the tour opportunities are really starting to open up for us. We got Accept coming up in January of next year, and the festivals in Europe as well. And hopefully, we're going to get a U.S. tour in on that too.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I mean, I know right now, like, you know, I'm in New York right now, so we're at a limited capacity for everything. So a lot of clubs, you know, they just can't open up. It's just not financially feasible for them to open up for 30 people to come, even though most of the shows before they only had about 30 people anyway on any given night. But they just say they can't do it right now. So, I mean, is it better to wait till there's 100% capacity again, or at least we can guarantee you can go out there and perform, make enough money to keep going and continue? Is that what the goal is to wait for?
Yeah, the goal is to wait for the safety. You know, we want to be safe. We want people to come to the shows, but we also we want everybody to return to the next show that we have. You know, so we'll comply with anything. I'm not a big vaccination guy. I already had COVID back in January, so I don't know if I need a vaccination, but they're going to try to make me have one, right?
That's a government.
Yep. And I guess I'll do it if it means I get to play shows, you know.
Yeah, hopefully it won't come down to that. We'll see what happens. But I can't wait for you guys to get back out on the road. I mean, this is such an amazing record, and as great as records are, and I love listening to them and buying them, nothing beats a live show. Nothing comes close to the intensity you get from watching a band up on stage performing.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm the same way. I fanboy out on that too. Like I love going to shows and seeing bands. I love performing, but my roots are like going to see Metallica, going to see King, and you know, I love watching concerts. So
It's a great thing. You know, Mike, when you go back to the beginning of the band and up until now, I mean, so many changes have taken place, you know, in the music business alone, just going from, you know, records and CDs to downloads and nobody buying anything, almost like full circle back to vinyl coming back again, people buying, you know, records. You know, you've seen the business model go up and down. It was, you know, heavy metal, power metal, hair metal, thrash metal, death metal, everything changed, new metal. I mean, what is it like being in a band, trying to keep up with everything going on around you? I mean, do you see the changes coming and try to adapt? Do you just kind of say, you know what, we got to hold course and maybe eventually it'll come back around again?
hold court is perfectly said. Uh, Metal is totally cycled back around. It was for a while there. If you had pointy guitars, you know, people wouldn't even pay attention to you.
Yeah.
And now you have pointy guitars. I'm not talking about flying V's and like the old metal stuff. It seems to have recycled back around, and this time it does that. It's like picking up more momentum and more fans. And you know, I see young kids at our shows, and I see old, you know, people that are as old as us, you know, or whatever. So
It's true. You know, back in the early 80s, I don't know if anybody ever saw, like, you know, heavy metal and the scene exploding like it did. It was always an underground thing. Nobody ever thought like a band like Metallica could sign to a major label and become who they are now. Nobody knew Flotsam Jetsam would still be putting out music almost 40 years later. I mean, when you first got into it, was it just like, you know, just like make music, get up on stage, play, get laid, you know, get drunk, meet girls? Or was it like from the beginning a business thing to you where you say, you know what, if we do this right, you know, we can make money, make a career out of it, and this is what we could do for the rest of our lives?
it was an Ace Frehley thing for me. I wanted to be like Ace Frehley. And yeah, and then when I was in high school, I noticed there was some benefits to playing guitar. I mean, now it's a curse. If you tell someone, "Hey, I'm a guitar player," you know, they're oh wow, you know, everybody's a guitar player. But back then, you know, you're a guitar player. You were kind of the big shit in school. So
That's true. The guitar player and the singer. Poor bass players and drummers, which is me. We never got any respect. Nobody cared about us. We were just in the background.
Oh, I always have that meme, with like the keyboard player where it shows the drummer with like 5 girls, and then the
Yeah,
guitar player with 2, the singer with 10, and then the keyboardist is with a guy.
that's the way it goes. Hey, Mike, I'm not going to keep. I know you got a whole day of these things to do, but it's been great talking to you, man. But Blood in the Water, what an amazing record! I'm already looking forward to the next one, and this one's just starting to come out, so you got a lot of work ahead of you.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time and speaking with me. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Mike. I can't wait to see you back out on tour next time in the New York area. I'll see you guys live.
Okay, sounds great. We'll talk to you then.
You got it, my friend. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.